Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ramos here. I'm just going to be actually breaking down the Macbeth Unit test for you at this point. Now, I know I gave you an extra 24-hour extension, but I did want to break it down for you so that you have a clear understanding on what to expect for this test. Now, Part A and Part B are relatively quite easy. So Part A talks about multiple choice. You're going to see 20 multiple choice questions here. For whichever multiple choice question that you are going to select the correct answer for, I encourage you to highlight that correct answer and then to bold it, okay? So in case of number one, maybe I'll select A as my correct answer. I'm going to highlight that and I would bold that, okay? And then leave it as is. So you're going to have 20 multiple choice questions there, okay? Pretty straightforward. Now, as we move down into our true and false, there's 10 true and false questions. Select which true and false question you believe is correct. And again, if it's true, you would highlight and bold it. If it's false, you would highlight the F and bold it, okay? You're going to do that for 10 of the questions. Where the test gets a little bit tricky, okay, is Part C under sight passage. Now, for the sight passage portion, I've given you 5 quotations here. I'm asking you to only select 3 of those 5 quotations, okay? And in the first section of the quotation, what you'll do, say, for example, I elect to choose quotation number 1 here. I'm going to say, who said this quotation? So I'm going to identify who the speaker is. Keep in mind, you don't have to use this off the top of your head. You're writing this test at home. You're more than welcome to do some research, to look it up, review back to your notes, look at the actual play, and figure out who said that quotation. That should be, should you read everything and do some research, your speaker mark for each one of these quotes should be pretty easy. So you should be able to get 3 out of 3, no problem on the speaker portion of this. So in this situation, I look at my quotation and say, who said this quote? And I would type in who said that actual quotation here. I thought this isn't the answer, but let's say I believe that Macduff or Macbeth said this quotation. I would write Macbeth in here. Under context, what context means is it's asking you at what point in the play, what is happening in the play when this quotation is said. So, in this quotation here, all hail Banquo, lesser than Macbeth, but greater, not so happy, but much happier. Thou shalt beget kings, though thou'st none. We know when this happens. It's in the beginning of the play. We know what's taking place. You're going to explain to me what Macbeth and Banquo are doing at the time when this quotation is said. What has just finished? What is about to come, right? But most importantly, you're just telling me what is happening at the time when this quotation was said. The big key part, the tricky part here, is our significance. And what our significance does, okay, is it really explains, you're going to tell me why that quotation is important or significant. I've broken it down into several sections, okay, right here. So I said identify a literary device, identify how this quotation enhances character development and or plot development. So for a lot of you, what I might encourage you to do is to write that actually in there, literary device. And you can submit your essay your test if you wish, like this. I would write in character development and plot development. Now, under each one of these sections, you got to provide 1 point. Notice how it's worth 3 marks? For each one of these, 1 mark. So identify a literary device. For this section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into, not our Animal Farm, but we're going to go down into Macbeth course content. And you're going to remember the literary terms that I printed off for you here? I'm going to pull up these literary terms here that I explained to you and review through all of these literary terms: allegory, alliteration, protagonist, antagonist. I'm going to go through all of these and I'm going to highlight which one of those literary devices I see in this quote. Okay, so for example, if I feel, this might be foreshadowing, might be telling us what's going to happen in the future, I would write down here foreshadowing. Okay, then under character development, I'm going to say, what does this quote, why is it significant? Well, let's think to ourselves, what actions, what does this tell Banquo? And more so, what does this cause Macbeth to have inside of him? And what does this cause Macbeth to do in the future, which becomes our plot development? So you can see here now the significance. Well, this is a pretty significant quote, right? Because we not only identified there's many literary devices here, but we can identify, hey, how does this change Banquo and Macbeth? And as well, what does it cause Macbeth to do down the line? Okay, you're going to do that 3 times. Okay, 3 times you're going to do that. You won't do it for all 5 of them. I'll just mark the first 3, but I want you to understand that you're the different levels on what I'm asking you to do. Okay, I hope you have a fantastic day. Should you have any questions, feel free to contact me.